Russian crime dungeons refers to a network of underground facilities allegedly used by organized crime syndicates in major Russian cities for illicit activities. These complexes are said to be intricate systems of tunnels and rooms, equipped with utilities and sometimes luxurious amenities, hidden beneath bustling urban areas. Proponents of their existence point to anecdotes from former criminals, testimonies from law enforcement officials, and occasional media reports of raids on such facilities. The dungeons are believed to serve multiple purposes, including safe houses, hideouts, and venues for illegal gambling, drug trafficking, and human trafficking. Supporters argue that the creation of these spaces requires significant architectural expertise and knowledge of city infrastructure, highlighting the resources available to criminal organizations. Some theorists suggest that the dungeon's existence demonstrates the deep penetration of organized crime into various levels of Russian society. The concept is often linked to the history of Russian organized crime, particularly the thieves-in-law, or vori v zakoni, dating back to the Stalinist era. Believers claim that the secrecy and urban camouflage of these dungeons allow criminal activities to continue undetected in densely populated areas. Some argue that the lack of widespread evidence is due to the clandestine nature of these facilities and potential cover-ups by corrupt officials. Russian sleep experiments refers to alleged secret Soviet-era tests conducted to explore the effects of prolonged sleep deprivation on human subjects. The experiments supposedly involved keeping prisoners awake for extended periods using an experimental stimulant gas. Theorists claim that the subjects exhibited extreme psychological and physiological changes, including violent behavior and self-mutilation. Some versions of the story suggest that the test subjects developed superhuman strength and resistance to sedatives. Believers point to declassified documents about unethical human experimentation during the Cold War as potential evidence for such experiments. The theory often incorporates elements of Soviet military research into chemical warfare and mind control techniques. Some argue that the experiments resulted in the creation of sleepless super soldiers or triggered latent psychic abilities. The concept has gained traction in online forums and creepypasta communities, contributing to its spread and evolution. Supporters sometimes link the alleged experiments to modern sleep research and studies on the effects of sleep deprivation. This entry refers to a theory claiming that Russia possesses advanced extraterrestrial technology capable of disabling or destroying American satellites. Proponents of this theory point to unexplained satellite malfunctions and communication disruptions as potential evidence of such a weapon's existence. Some believers argue that Russia acquired this technology through secret agreements with extraterrestrial beings or by reverse engineering crashed UFOs. The theory often cites alleged whistleblower testimonies from former military or intelligence personnel claiming knowledge of the weapon's existence. Supporters suggest that the US government's increased focus on space defense and the creation of the Space Force are responses to this perceived threat. Some proponents claim that unusual atmospheric phenomena, or lights observed in the sky, are actually tests or deployments of this Russian UFO weapon. The theory sometimes incorporates ideas about Cold War-era secret space programs and hidden technological advancements. Believers often point to gaps in publicly available satellite tracking data as evidence of cover-ups related to destroyed or disabled satellites. Some theorists argue that international tensions and diplomatic conflicts between Russia and the US are partly due to this alleged technological advantage. Sacred geometry refers to the belief that certain geometric patterns and proportions have spiritual or mystical significance. Proponents argue that these patterns appear throughout nature and ancient architecture, suggesting a universal design principle. The golden ratio, found in structures like the Parthenon and natural forms like nautilus shells, is often cited as evidence of this cosmic order. Adherents believe that understanding and applying these geometric principles can unlock deeper truths about the universe and consciousness. Some researchers point to the prevalence of certain shapes, like the flower of life, in diverse cultures across history as indication of their special importance. Studies have shown that exposure to certain geometric patterns can induce altered states of consciousness, leading some to believe these shapes have inherent power. Skeptics argue that humans are simply prone to recognizing patterns, but supporters maintain that the consistency and complexity of these forms suggest more than coincidence. Samsara is a concept in Eastern religions referring to the cycle of death and rebirth to which all beings are bound. This cycle is driven by karma, the cosmic principle of cause and effect that determines the nature of one's next life based on their actions in the current one. Proponents of samsara point to phenomena like déjà vu and children's claimed past life memories as potential evidence for reincarnation. Some researchers have documented cases where individuals possess knowledge or skills seemingly inherited from past lives, lending credence to the idea of karmic continuity. The theory of samsara suggests that the ultimate goal of existence is to break free from this cycle through spiritual enlightenment or liberation. Adherents argue that the complexity and apparent unfairness of life can be explained by the accumulated karma from countless past lives. Critics view samsara as a philosophical construct, but supporters maintain that it offers a comprehensive framework for understanding the nature of existence and consciousness. Sandman sightings refer to reported encounters with a mysterious entity believed to be responsible for inducing sleep and dreams. Witnesses describe a tall, slender figure with glowing eyes, often seen sprinkling sand-like particles in the air or near sleeping individuals. Some accounts claim that the Sandman appears in dimly lit rooms or at the edge of one's vision, vanishing when directly observed. Proponents of this phenomenon point to the consistency in descriptions across different cultures and time periods as evidence of its potential reality. Certain sleep disorders, such as sleep paralysis or hypnagogic hallucinations, are sometimes attributed to Sandman encounters by those who believe in the entity. Researchers studying these reports note similarities to folkloric figures like the European Sandman and the Slavic Dremovik, suggesting a possible cultural or archetypal origin. Skeptics argue that Sandman sightings are merely hallucinations or misinterpretations of natural phenomena, while believers maintain that the widespread nature of these experiences hints at an underlying truth. Santiago Interference refers to a concept derived from the Santiago theory of cognition, which posits that all living systems are inherently cognitive. This theory proposes that consciousness exists on a spectrum, with all organisms exhibiting some degree of awareness simply by virtue of being alive. Santiago Interference builds on this idea, suggesting that interactions between living systems can alter or disrupt their cognitive processes and levels of consciousness. Evidence for this concept can be found in studies of gut microbiota, which have shown that these microorganisms can influence their host's brain function and behavior. Social neuroscience research has also demonstrated that group interactions can affect individual cognitive processes, a phenomenon sometimes called collective intelligence. The implications of Santiago Interference extend to the field of artificial intelligence, raising questions about whether AI systems designed to mimic lifelike cognition could experience or induce such interference. This concept challenges traditional notions of consciousness and suggests that awareness is not only fundamental to life, but can be influenced by interactions between living systems. Exploring Santiago Interference may lead to breakthroughs in biology, psychology, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence, potentially revolutionizing our understanding of cognition and consciousness. Satan is the good guy refers to an alternative interpretation of religious texts that posits Lucifer as a benevolent figure rather than the embodiment of evil. This perspective argues that Satan's rebellion against God was an act of liberation, freeing humanity from ignorance and oppression. Theorists point to biblical passages where Satan encourages knowledge and free will, such as tempting Eve with the fruit of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. Some adherents view God as a tyrannical figure, citing Old Testament accounts of divine wrath and punishment as evidence of a cruel deity. The theory suggests that Satan's role as the light-bringer, or morning star in some traditions, indicates his true nature as an enlightener of humanity. Supporters often interpret the war in heaven as a struggle for free will and self-determination against an authoritarian cosmic order. Critics argue this view ignores the broader context of religious teachings, while proponents maintain it offers a more nuanced understanding of good and evil. Saturn Rings refers to a theory suggesting that Saturn's iconic rings are not natural formations, but artificial constructs created by an advanced alien civilization. Proponents point to the rings' precise geometry and unusual composition as evidence that they may be too perfect to have formed naturally. Some researchers claim to have identified anomalous objects within the rings that could be interpreted as artificial structures or spacecraft. The theory proposes that the rings might serve as a massive solar energy collection system or an interstellar communication device. Supporters often cite the unique electromagnetic properties of Saturn's rings as potential evidence of their technological nature. Some versions of this theory suggest the rings could be a planetary defense system, designed to protect Saturn from cosmic threats. While mainstream science explains Saturn's rings through natural processes, adherents argue our understanding of planetary formation and alien technology is too limited to rule out artificial origins. The recent discovery that Saturn's rings are disappearing and will be invisible from Earth in 2025 has added intrigue to discussions about their nature and origin. NASA confirms that Saturn's ring system, which extends up to nearly 200,000 miles from the planet's surface, will appear to vanish during a rare equinox in May 2025. Despite their massive width, the vertical height of the rings is typically only 30 feet, making them nearly impossible to see when Saturn is viewed edge-on from Earth. Some researchers have noted that the rings are dissipating at an alarming rate, with gravity pulling ring material towards Saturn's surface. Estimates suggest the rings could be completely gone in the next 300 million years, leading some to speculate about their relatively recent formation and possible artificial nature. Saturn's north polar hexagon refers to a persistent hexagonal cloud pattern observed at the north pole of Saturn, first discovered by the Voyager missions in the 1980s. This unique atmospheric phenomenon spans roughly 25,000 kilometers across and has remained stable for decades, defying simple explanation by planetary scientists. Some researchers propose that the hexagon is the result of a complex interplay between Saturn's rapid rotation and its atmospheric jet streams. The precise geometric shape of the hexagon has led some to speculate about possible artificial origins or extraterrestrial interference. Proponents of alternative theories point to the hexagon's longevity and regularity as evidence that it may be more than a natural occurrence. Some suggest the hexagon could be a massive electromagnetic generator or a portal to another dimension, though these ideas lack scientific support. The hexagon's behavior during Saturn's changing seasons has provided new data for scientists studying this enigmatic feature, revealing variations in its color and structure over time. Phil Schnieder was a self-proclaimed government geologist and engineer who gained notoriety for his claims about secret underground bases and extraterrestrial encounters.
I'm Phil Schnieder. I spent 17 years in black budget programs, government geologist as engineer, structural engineer with aerospace applications. Self-taught metallurgist, became kind of famous in my own right. Up here I have different artifacts. Some of them are alien metals that have been produced both on this planet and the confines of outer space that are now used in all stealth aircraft. All stealth aircraft, for instance, all black jets, what you're seeing of black helicopters and the like, the skins and the coatings and the residues that are used predominantly in the aircraft themselves, in the airframes, in the rotor blades and the fans, and in some cases in submarines, special titanium hulls, in the Phoenix-class submarines now. All this has come from alien technology. 1947 is what the public has been told. Something crashed in the backyard in New Mexico, a place called Roswell, New Mexico. Unfortunately, that's what the public's been told. The military's known about the alien question for the better part of 70 years, and they first saw their glimpse of what was going on as early as 1909 in the American Southwest. Now, Army cavalry evidently were chasing some bandits, and they entered this cave. They were holed up in a cave, and what they found in there was flying discs and little gray guys and all kinds of weird things, and they didn't know how to explain that, and they wrote them down as best they could, and It's been in secret archives ever since.
Schnieder asserted that he was involved in the construction of deep underground military bases across the United States. He claimed to have participated in a violent confrontation with alien beings during a base construction project in 1979, resulting in a chest wound and the loss of several fingers. Schnieder's lectures and interviews detailed alleged government knowledge of alien presence on Earth and advanced technologies kept hidden from the public. He spoke about the existence of gray aliens and their supposed cooperation with certain government factions in underground facilities. Supporters of Schnieder's claims point to his technical knowledge and the specificity of his accounts as evidence of their authenticity. Schnieder's mysterious death in 1996, officially ruled a self-deletion, has led some to speculate that he was silenced for revealing classified information. SCPs are real refers to the belief that the fictional entities and phenomena described in the collaborative writing project, known as the SCP Foundation, actually exist in our world. Proponents of this theory argue that the SCP Foundation website serves as a covert method of disseminating real information about anomalous objects and beings under the guise of fiction. Some believers point to the detailed and often scientifically plausible descriptions of SCPs as evidence of their potential reality. Supporters claim that certain unexplained events or mysterious disappearances could be attributed to SCP entities or Foundation containment operations. The theory suggests that the crowdsourced nature of the SCP project allows genuine insider information to be mixed with fictional accounts, obscuring the truth. Some adherents believe that the SCP Foundation itself, or a similar organization, actually exists to contain and study anomalous phenomena. Alleged sightings of an entity matching the description of the SCP-96, also known as the Shy Guy, have been reported in real-world locations. Believers claim that encounters with a tall, pale humanoid creature exhibiting extreme distress when viewed directly align with the SCP Foundation's description of SCP-96. Some reports describe a being with disproportionately long arms and a hairless, emaciated appearance, matching key features of the fictional entity. Proponents of these sightings often point to unexplained disappearances or deaths in areas where the creature was allegedly seen, suggesting its anomalous and deadly properties. The theory posits that the SCP Foundation's description of SCP-96 is based on a real anomalous entity, with the fictional elements serving as disinformation to discredit genuine encounters. Skeptics argue that these sightings are likely misidentifications of known animals or hoaxes inspired by the popular SCP mythology. Supporters of the theory sometimes cite the detailed containment procedures and incident reports in the SCP-96 file as evidence of real-world attempts to manage and study the entity. Secret gates refers to the belief in hidden portals or gateways scattered around the world that allow instantaneous travel between distant locations or even different dimensions. Proponents of this theory claim that certain ancient structures, natural formations, or modern buildings house these concealed passageways. Some believers point to unexplained disappearances of people in specific areas as evidence of individuals accidentally stumbling through these gates. The theory often incorporates elements of ley lines, suggesting that these energy pathways connect the secret gates and power their transportation capabilities. Supporters argue that governments or secret societies are aware of these gates and use them for covert operations or to access hidden knowledge. Some versions of the secret gates theory propose that they are remnants of advanced ancient technology, left behind by a lost civilization or extraterrestrial visitors. Believers sometimes cite unusual electromagnetic readings or gravitational anomalies in certain locations as potential indicators of nearby secret gates. Secret human organs refers to the idea that undiscovered anatomical structures may exist within the human body, challenging our current understanding of human physiology. This concept gained credibility in 2020 when scientists discovered a previously unknown organ deep inside the human head, where the nasal passages meet the back of the throat. The newly found structure is believed to be a fourth pair of salivary glands, marking the first discovery of a new human organ in approximately 300 years. Researchers identified this organ while studying patient scans, noticing an unknown structure in the nasopharynx that didn't fit prior anatomical descriptions. The discovery has significant implications for cancer treatment, as these glands can be damaged by radiation therapy, leading to severe side effects like dry mouth and difficulty swallowing. This finding demonstrates that even with advanced medical imaging technology, parts of human anatomy can remain hidden or misunderstood. The elusiveness of this organ is partly due to the difficulty in monitoring and distinguishing structures within the complex mass of similar-looking tissue in the human head. Scientists were able to identify this structure by noticing small areas in cadavers that showed evidence of fluid pass-through, similar to tunnels in an ant farm. This discovery suggests that other unidentified structures or organs may still exist within the human body, waiting to be uncovered by future research and improved imaging techniques. The existence of such a significant anatomical feature remaining undiscovered until recently lends credence to the idea that our understanding of human anatomy is not yet complete. Secret Mongolian Empire refers to the theory that a hidden remnant of the Mongol Empire continues to exist and exert influence on global affairs from remote regions of Central Asia. Proponents argue that this secret empire has maintained its power and traditions in isolation, preserving ancient Mongolian culture and military tactics. Some believers point to unexplained geopolitical events or economic fluctuations as evidence of the hidden empire's behind-the-scenes manipulation. The theory often incorporates ideas about advanced technology or mystical powers preserved from the time of Genghis Khan, giving the secret empire an edge over modern nations. Supporters claim that certain restricted areas in Mongolia or neighboring countries serve as the headquarters for this clandestine power structure. Some versions of the theory suggest that world leaders secretly pay tribute to or seek counsel from the hidden Mongolian rulers, explaining unexpected political decisions. Believers sometimes cite the rapid modernization of Mongolia and its increasing global presence as a smokescreen for the activities of the secret empire. Secret oceans refers to the theory that there are undiscovered bodies of water hidden beneath the Earth's surface, potentially harboring unique ecosystems and resources. Proponents argue that these subterranean oceans could exist in vast caverns or porous rock layers isolated from the surface for millions of years. Some believers point to the discovery of underground water reserves and aquifers as evidence that larger, more significant water bodies could remain undetected. The theory often incorporates ideas about advanced prehistoric civilizations that may have retreated to these hidden waters to escape global catastrophes. Supporters claim that certain unexplored regions, such as Antarctica or remote desert areas, could conceal entrances to these secret oceans. Some versions of the theory suggest that these hidden water bodies are connected to the surface oceans through a network of underground channels influencing global water cycles. Believers sometimes cite anomalous sonar readings or unexplained seismic activities as potential indicators of large subsurface water movements within secret oceans. Secret Space Program refers to alleged covert government and military operations involving advanced spacecraft and off-world activities. Proponents claim these programs have been ongoing for decades, utilizing technologies far beyond what is publicly acknowledged.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. This time we will do more than plant our flag and leave our footprints. We will establish a long-term presence and build the foundation for an eventual mission to Mars, which is actually going to happen very quickly.
Some believe the program originated from recovered alien spacecraft and collaboration with extraterrestrial beings. Insiders purportedly describe anti-gravity propulsion, faster-than-light travel, and bases on the Moon, Mars, and beyond.
Lunar Operations Command is a moon base, and it was built out originally by the Germans in the late 1930s, early 1940s. After Operation Paperclip, it served its purpose and integrated the Nazis into the military-industrial complex. The LOC was handed over to the Americans.
Whistleblowers have come forward claiming involvement in classified missions to other planets and star systems. Advanced healing technologies, time travel, and consciousness-expanding techniques are said to be utilized within the program.
Some of the testimony that's come to me over the last year in particular has been nothing short of startling in terms of the degree to which the space program, the secret space program, has expanded.
Some theorize that funds for these operations come from trillions of dollars unaccounted for in government budgets.
Our black budget, for instance, garners $1.023 trillion every 2 years. It's over $500 billion a year.
Proponents point to unusual sightings of advanced craft and anomalous objects on other celestial bodies as potential evidence. The concept of breakaway civilizations suggests that secret space program personnel may live radically different lives from the general public.
Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. There's 1,477 of them worldwide. Area 51 is only one base, one of the 131 bases. I call Area 51 a mega base. It's got more than one base in it.
Disclosure advocates argue that revealing the existence of such programs could revolutionize life on Earth with new energy sources and technologies.
The entire world is still driving automobiles that function essentially on the same technology that they have for 100 years. 100 years, and we're still using fossil fuels to fill up our gas tanks. How is that possible? That has not moved forward hardly one iota. Well, that's because that's one of the economic factors from the globalists that is so dead set against distributing real energy, which is free energy, which we know was discovered during Tesla's time.
Secret underground travel networks refers to the theory that a vast system of underground tunnels and high-speed transportation exists beneath the Earth's surface. Proponents argue that these networks connect major cities, military bases, and other strategic locations around the world. Some believers point to unexplained underground structures, mysterious tunnel systems in ancient sites, and reports of deep subterranean sounds as evidence of this hidden infrastructure. The theory often incorporates ideas about advanced technologies such as magnetic levitation trains or gravity-defying vehicles operating within these secret networks. Supporters claim that the existence of such networks explains how high-ranking officials or elites can travel quickly and discreetly between distant locations. Some versions of the theory suggest that these underground systems were built by ancient civilizations or with the aid of extraterrestrial technology. Believers sometimes cite declassified government documents mentioning underground facilities or eyewitness accounts of entrances to hidden tunnel systems as potential proof of these networks' existence. Segregated Internet refers to the theory that the World Wide Web is not truly global and open, but rather divided into distinct isolated networks based on geographical, political, or technological boundaries. Proponents argue that different countries or regions have their own versions of the internet, with restricted access to content outside their designated zones. Some believers point to China's Great Firewall and Russia's sovereign internet law as examples of government-imposed internet segregation already in place. The theory often incorporates ideas about hidden networks or dark nets that exist parallel to the public internet, accessible only to select groups or through special means. Supporters claim that major tech companies contribute to this segregation by creating closed ecosystems and filter bubbles, effectively isolating users within their platforms. Some versions of the theory suggest that certain nations or organizations have access to advanced internet technologies far beyond what is publicly available. Believers sometimes cite inconsistencies in global internet speeds, content availability, and user experiences as evidence of an underlying segregated structure to the internet.